Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All righty, kids. Welcome into a Friday edition of the JP Peterson Show. We are so happy to be here on this Friday. I missed my football Fridays already. Tim Ham, IndyCar Tim from our Dallas affiliate, DSP Media, joining us here. What's up, my friend? How are you? You're not doing well.
Good morning.
With the people.
Yeah, I'm playing a little injured today. Apparently, I've got strep throat for the first time in my life at the age of 53.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not treating me very kindly either.
It is no bueno. No. Well, I appreciate you playing hurt.
Sure.
You're no Anthony Davis, but I can tell you what, you show up.
I take that as a huge compliment, by the way.
You could do the Anthony Davis show and the whole time just be going like, oh, thanks, JP. Oh, my throat. Oh, but I'll stick here and see if I can get through it.
Oh, Lord. What is wrong with athletes?
Oh, my God. Well, not athletes. You don't see hockey players doing that stuff.
That's true. That's true. They never.
For the most part, don't see football players doing that stuff.
I was
just
teaching my
baseball
kids.
Players and NBA players.
Yeah, I was teaching my kids a little something about the difference between hockey players and other athletes. And some baseball players fall into this category too, where you just can't get them off the field, right? But
yeah,
for the most part, man, hockey players are a different breed, playing with getting a tooth knocked out, breaking their nose. They just go getting stitched up and then the locker room and then going right back out on the ice. That's just, man, that's how it should be.
Male or female, by the way.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. And that's how it should be.
Yeah. Which, we didn't really mention this yesterday, but all right. I'm going to mute myself for a second because I'm having a little outage.
Oh, here we go. You're watching live or listening to live coverage of JP having a sneezing fit right here on FanStream Sports. And
sorry, you guys didn't get to enjoy the audio of that, but
I hope you're watching the video because it was pretty epic.
As my eyes and nasal passages fill up, like it's crazy how.
Imagine when we used to watch Looney Tunes cartoons when the cartoon character would sneeze and their eyes would bulge out and pop out of their head and then go back in. That's what JP just did.
Well, funny you should say that because my go-to when I used to go to my kids' classes and read, Shay, my daughter would always say, "Dad, I shouldn't even be doing this on a live radio show, but I will do it anyway."
That's what we did.
I said, "Do your oh God, who is the character? God, now I totally forgot the cartoon character. The Daffy Duck, maybe Daffy Duck, or who the heck is it? Anyway, she would ask me to do that, and I would graciously. I might do it, I might not, but I'll just tease it for later on. But I would do that, and it would bring the house down all the time. It's Donald Duck. Yeah, but Donald Duck, when he would sneeze, he would go. Yeah, I did it. Constantly, it would bring the house down. We're
going to be hearing that again on the JP Peterson Show, I guarantee, and I'm pulling that.
That would be the things you do for your children, right? And your audience.
Oh my goodness, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so we got lots to get into today. Besides that shenanigans, Stu Sternberg has settled with his partners, which is something I thought they would never do. They told me they would never do. Boy, did they get a lot of money. They got a lot of money. They got a lot of money. Of course, nothing is disclosed. Nothing is disclosed. Of course, the NDAs all the way across the board. And as we did tell you, I was wrong about them settling, but I was right about them. I was saying that this has got to go away before the stadium deal is done, before anything is done, before a sale is done, that this is going to have to go to, but it'll never go to trial. Now, I thought that MLB would do the right thing and use that to force Stu out and to get good local ownership in here that would do a fair deal in a place where baseball can thrive, which would be on the Tampa side of the Bay. But of course, MLB wouldn't do that because A, they're dumb, and B, they don't care about their fans, and C, what they care about is bilking as much public money out of people as they possibly can.
Right.
So, which is the vis-a-vis this deal in St. Pete, which, to get through all the BS, folks, basically the real part of it comes down to the city selling Stu Sternberg, $700 million worth of prime real estate for $100 million, $105 million. Just gifting him $600 million, which he will turn around and sell to Hines and take the money and not do anything. Well, maybe not do anything, allegedly, that they says, because we haven't seen all the contracts yet, but the ones we have seen, there is nothing that compels him to build a stadium, nothing that compels him to do all these other things. I mean, there are certain penalties in the contract, but you could just like save the money and pay the penalties and just walk away with hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars that should go to the city of St. Pete. As if Rick Kreisman were developing this project, he would sell it to a developer who would pay you $700 million. And then they would develop things that bring real businesses all year round, not just 81 nights a year. And, use that money for affordable housing and things like, fixing stormwaters and the beaches and all these other things. But instead, you're just going to gift $700 million in cash to a guy who has downgraded your city, saying you're not a major league city forever. I think it's just, and then build a stadium, and then you get to pay for half a stadium that nobody is going to use. Oh, but wait, we have a great marketing tool. We're going to do these City Connect uniforms that appeal to the skater, underground art, subculture of St. Pete, because they
have all the money, right?
Oh, that's where all the money is. The skateboarders. Of course. They're the ones that are going to be buying thousands of tickets and filling up the luxury boxes. That's who. And don't forget about the underground art culture. Those people are loaded. I mean, you want to talk loaded? Those people have $100 bills just falling out of their pants. Those are the people you got to market to. We idiots here have missed. This is going to solve the attendance problem. Duh.
Other than Tony Hawk, does any skateboarders have money? I mean, that's the only one I can think of.
There's the red-haired skateboarder, a skiboarder guy.
Sean White, the snowboarder guy.
Snowboarder guy.
I don't know. That's snowboard. I don't know.
No, it's because you can't do that in Florida, right? Okay. About his same genius. Hey, let's go after the snowboard crowd for tickets
in Tampa.
Yeah. So you got to go after that. That's where the money is, bro. The skateboard counterculture underground art scene, man. Those are the people. I mean, we've been doing it all wrong. We've been trying to appeal to families and stuff, and upper income people that can afford luxury boxes and corporations. No, dude. Open it up to the skateboarder crowd. That's going to fill the Trop.
Are they going to put skateboard ramps all around the Trop so they can just ride around?
Yeah, the new stadium's going to have its own skate. Every time somebody hits a home run, DJ Kitty's going to skateboard down the thing, and do a flip. That's what we're going to do in the new stadium.
Every home run.
Here comes DJ Kitty with his hat on backwards, like, woo! Do a flip and land in the freaking Ray Pond.
So if it's every home run, probably not going to see it a lot, are we?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
When they hit their one home run in May.
I just couldn't help it.
We got to celebrate. Got to get the DJ, get him on a skateboard and his City Connect, and woo, hat on backwards.
God, dude, that would be hysterical. I
mean, this is what it's all about. Marketing, brilliant marketing. I mean, this is just absolutely forward thinking. And of course, they write a big article in the paper about how it's so long, Tom Brady. We're putting up a mural of skateboarders and City Connect uniforms.
I haven't even seen the City Connect. What do they look like? Are they cool?
Have you seen them?
I haven't seen the Rays ones.
Google Glitz and Glow, Rays new uniforms. I like them. I personally like them. I think they're neon. They're really cool. I like the new Sky Ray hat. Nick was wearing it yesterday. I like the logo. I actually like the stuff. Those
aren't bad. Yeah.
No, they're cool. I like them. Yeah. But it's like, this is your marketing campaign. You're going to, and they literally are saying we're trying to appeal to this counterculture. It's the same old, what this is. It's the same old virtue signaling that people like Stu Sternberg love to do, to make, look how open-minded I am. And we embrace everything. And we have the big BLM a sign at the back of the wall. We haven't figured out yet that was a totally corrupt organization that spent all their money on real estate, and everybody knows it. Even the NAACP and all these other people have totally condemned them. But we're still going to put it up there to make you think that we're super great people and open-minded while we reach into your pocket and take $600-700 million of your public money for ourselves, not affordable housing. I mean, it's absolutely mind-blowing. But I think that's Stu's lawyer on the other end.
He's calling. Cease and desist.
Not available. Doing my show right now.
Cease and desist.
It's just it's laughable. I love the uniforms though; they're really cool.
Oh, those look really sharp.
But the other stuff is just stop. You know, I mean, do what's right and do a true public-private partnership and show that you actually care about the area. Chip in some of the $1.5 billion now, closing probably $2 billion that you're going to make off this team, you know, in this latest deal with boondoggle we'll see if it goes through. I still have my doubts, but you know, I mean, it's just the propaganda they're putting out that shows this fake public support. If you have to put out propaganda to show fake public support, what are you doing? But that's, you know, it just goes back to the way Stu has always felt about the city of St. Petersburg and Tampa Bay. He's always looked down his nose at us, thinks we're a bunch of rubes and we're stupid. And if he gets this money, he'll be 100% right. He'll be 100% right. And he'll laugh all the way to the bank with you people. That's what, don't ever forget, this year's theme, Thunder Road. Last line in the song is what, Tim? It's a town for losers, and I'm pulling out of here to win. And here's the mayor. Sure, take $600-700 million. Sure, we'll sell you for $100 million when we could sell it for $700. Yeah, just so you'll keep the Rays here, and then we'll pay for half your stadium, which we could make $400 million on that property in tax money over the last. But instead, we're going to spend $700 million. That's a $1.1 billion loss, by the way, cost the taxpayers. At 2.4 total. So then we're in a failed location that we know nobody's going to show up to, but we're counting on the skateboarders and the counterculture people to fill the stadium.
I didn't even know counterculture was still a thing. Like, is that still a term?
Like you can't make this stuff up.
That's
you
ridiculous.
Can't make it up. It's so and to the settlement with the partners, as I have been speaking to and have for a long time, people that are close to this, but they're not in it. They're not the ones that sign the MDAs or any of those things. I don't, none of that stuff is disclosed. Right. And, and we've said for a long time that they do not want to settle. This was all out in public anyway, public domain. So I'm not violating anything here. And it was supposed to go to a jury trial. The Rays lost that. They appealed it, lost again, because of course they're dirty deal in here. And it was going to go to a jury trial. And if it had gone to a jury trial, that would have been discovery, depositions, all that stuff. Major League Baseball was never going to let that happen. So I don't know how much that check is, but it's a big effing check that he's going to have to write to his partners that is just killing him. Just killing him. Even though, this is the guy that'll make, $700, $800, $900 million up front on the deal. He'll be making that, but he'll be like, oh, I got to pay them $100 million. Like, you still have a lot left, bro. I'm not focusing on that. I could have got more, and I'm pissed off about it. This is the way these people think.
You're not going to see him in the drive-thru at McDonald's anytime soon.
No. Doubt he even eats meat.
There you go.
Not that there's anything wrong with being
no
plant-based or vegan or anything on there. No. But no, it's not. This though does clear the way, and it does. It's interesting that this settlement doesn't take place until August, which is, I guess, after the votes. So after he collects his money from his upfront money of $700 million, and the people in St. Pete still have time to stop this, but it probably will. The corrupt forces that are at work will certainly take care of it. As in all of our politics, that's what happens when money's at stake. Why use this money for public good? Why use this? Why sell it to a developer and get $600-700 million in profit? Let them pay for all the building that's going to go on there. That's going to enrich the city and provide year-round jobs and affordable housing and all these other great things that you're still going to get if you develop. I love it when they say, oh, this stadium project's going to give you this. It's amazing. And it's like, well, yeah, we could get that and more if we just did it by ourselves. We don't need a baseball stadium. Well, yeah, that's true, but you're going to cost us $2.4 billion more if we build the baseball. Yeah, but look at all you're getting for that 2.4. But we would get that and more anyway if we did it ourselves. I mean, it's just
that's a hard sell.
But only in politics, only in America, we can just bend over the citizen that should be getting all this money and all this money pumped back into the government for this incredible piece of real estate that they have and this great opportunity. It's a once in a 6 generations opportunity for the city of St. Pete to do something that would incredibly transform them from an economic system. But instead, they're going to put themselves in horrific debt just to pay for this stupid construction of a stadium that nobody in St. Petersburg uses. Nobody.
NoHomeRun.com.
NoHomeRun.com. All right. So that's what happened with Stu. He's going to have to pay a huge chunk of money to his old partners, and he's all pissed off about it. That doesn't happen until August, which of course will be after the boondoggle goes down. And then there's probably something in that document that if this doesn't go down, he doesn't have to pay them the money, I would guess, because, I don't know why he would agree to it otherwise. But that's just my opinion, and I don't know anything whatsoever, but I'm just reading the tea leaves. So I guess the other good thing is, in talking to some people, that this could also clear the way for a sale. They had to get this done. If there was a pending sale and he was going to get out, he had to get this settled as well before a sale could happen. So if those, and we know that there are 2 groups that are interested in buying, both locally based, very secretive, all that stuff. And neither one of them want to build a stadium in St. Petersburg for obvious reasons. If you're buying something, if you're buying an asset like the Rays, you would want to maximize its revenue value, which is going to be in Tampa. Because don't get it twisted. In this sale, anything that Stu is getting in terms of redevelopment rights from Tropicana Field, he's going to keep all that. None of that will go to new ownership. He'll consummate that deal well before he sells the team. He'll collect all that money, and then whoever gets the team is not going to be privy to any of that cash. Yeah. So they'll be cash strapped as they start their new venture in Tampa or whatever. But, hopefully they got deep pockets and they can do it, whatever. So if you're hoping for a sale, this clears the way for that. If you're thinking the stadium deal is going to go through, and you're one of those people that thinks, oh, at least they'll stay here, and you're not thinking of the common good, and that's a false narrative anyway. They'll stay here anyway. They're not going anywhere. This settlement will certainly clear the way for all those things to happen. So in essence, it's a good thing. If you're a fan of it either way, this had to happen. So, I mean, of course, we wanted it to go to jury trial. We knew it never would, because Major League Baseball would never want to get all their dirty laundry out in the open. But wouldn't that be fun? Oh my God. Wouldn't that be fun? Seeing Stu in that depot.
Oh. So wouldn't he have to pay taxes on the difference of the value of that property he's supposed to be getting dirt cheap?
On the capital, I don't know. I don't know. You mean like on capital gains?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Well, he doesn't own it. He'd be buying it that's the beauty of it. You're buying it at a discount. You're not actually buying it and getting, the income. Now, when he sells it to Hines,
right?
I guess at that point he'd be open to some type of, but I'm sure he's got a lot of accountants that would, make that into some type of business expense. And, the rich don't pay taxes. We know that they pay accountants. They don't pay taxes.
It must be nice.
Yeah. So yeah, it's, Thomas Casper says no capital gains on that, because that's not something he's selling. He's actually purchasing, but he's purchasing it at huge. Now, when he sells it to Hines,
right?
I don't know how that deal, but they're co-collaborators in this. And it's funny because Hines was, they wanted to buy it under the Kreisman plan. They wanted to buy it, for hundreds of millions of dollars. And then, then the Rays go, well, wait a minute, we got this new mayor here. So we'll just say, hey, why don't we partner up, you and me now, and we'll act like we're going to build a stadium where we care about what the stadium is, but we'll get the land really cheap. That's the big deal. They're going to get their land super cheap for nothing. What they were going to pay, 700, 800 million for, they're now have to pay 105 million. And Hines would be like, oh, hell yeah, we're in on that. Yeah, we'll make tons of money on this. Absolutely. And yeah, but we're going to build you an amphitheater. Well, guess what? with the $600 million a developer, $700 million, we can build our own amphitheater, you think? Or a developer will pay for the property and build the amphitheater themselves. That's how it works. The fact that you're paying for the construction and giving them a discount and all, I mean, are you kidding me? Everywhere else in America, even the Kansas City Chiefs can't get public money like this, and they're winning Super Bowls.
Yeah.
I mean, they're beloved.
They're moving back to Dallas, JP.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
I mean, we got to get a winner here somehow, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, welcome to the world. And after all that being said, where the F is Junior Caminero? Still in Durham. Still, it's so bad. The Rays didn't even play him last night in AAA. Oh, well, he's on his way. No, actually, he's not. They're just giving him a night off. That's even like insult to injury. Like, we'll tease you. He's not in the lineup. And then, yeah, you don't have anybody in your lineup that can hit the ball out of the infield. This dude's hitting 2 home runs a game in 2 out of his last 3 games. And, yeah, we can't bring him up. He's too young. We don't want to spoil him. We don't want to wreck his confidence. He was up last year in September. Let's go.
Now, I could see that argument with a pitcher. Maybe. But no.
Yeah. What in the world? Like, what in the world? How is this guy not up? You had a day off. He's mashing the ball in Durham. You have nobody in your lineup. You had 5 hits the other day. 3 of them left the infield, and they were all singles. I mean, the numbers we ran through yesterday on the hitting of this team are unbelievable. Like 15 of their last 16 hits have been singles. They're second to last in extra base hits. I had all the numbers yesterday. We're not going to go through them again. They're awful, every single one of them. And you have the 4th best prospect in baseball. And from what I understand from the really, really smart people who crunch the numbers, like, you're not even getting a benefit in his service time at this point. He's past all that stuff, whatever the heck that is. I mean, minimal. I mean, it's a minimal gain, we're told. But I guess any minimal gain is better than anything for Stu. How do you not call Junior Caminero up? What are we doing?
I mean, you need a spark, right?
Yes, we need a spark. You'd rather have Nick Goodrum or whatever the hell he is doing or who he is in your lineup than Junior Caminero? Now, no wonder the tickets are $10, and they're probably not even selling those. Who wants to see this team that just got swept by the White Sox, a 3-win team? And it's just, I don't know. I'm so over him. I feel so bad for Kevin Cash and some of the players who really do want to win, but the culture of the team is completely just devolved into this ridiculous. They don't play well. They're not detail oriented. They don't hit the cutoff man. They don't back anybody up. It's defensively, they're one of the worst teams in the league, but that's okay. Their pitching's one of the worst as well. And they're hitting. It's actually amazing that they've won 14 games. And when you look at the numbers, they should be the 3-win team in the league, not the White Sox. Well, I guess the White Sox have 6 now because we visited them. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. And again, new ownership is what's needed. All right. Erik Erlendsson is going to join us today at 11 o'clock. We're going to do kind of a wrap up on the Lightning season and look ahead to the off season. This all important off season that is going to be huge for this team. And also Dave Archer is going to join us from Falcons Radio, former NFL quarterback. I was got drawn into the Chicago 85 Bears 30 for 30 the other day.
That's a good one, man.
Oh my God, so good. I forgot how good that team was.
God, they were awesome.
And how like larger than life they were. Like they were just everywhere. Refrigerator Perry, Jim McMahon. I mean, that was a different time. That's a great. If you haven't seen that 30 for 30, go see it. But part of it is multiple clips of David Archer just getting pounded into the ground by Richard Denton, Fridge Perry, and everybody else in that team.
As a lot of quarterbacks were that year.
Yeah, as a lot of quarterbacks. But the highlights of the hits on the quarterback, bro. Like they all should have been in jail. In this league, oh my God. I'm like, oh, yeah. Like, Arch, how did you survive that? I said, can I ask you about that, or will you get PTSD? He said, that's fine. Well, you can ask. So anyway, Dave's going to join us, and he's going to he's going to make the argument that the Michael Penix pick was a good one, as any quarterback would. You can't have enough quarterbacks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'll be interested to hear it. And I get it. I get it. They've had so many quarterback problems. You want to have a surplus if you can, right? If Kirk Cousins doesn't work out, you got a backup. Problem is you don't have a pass rush. And that's, in this league, you got to have, more than just a quarterback. But you do have to have a quarterback. That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
So you take the quarterback, and then you hope your other draft picks that you get, you hope you find a diamond in the rough in the second, third, fourth round in terms of an edge rusher. But you have your quarterback. And I get that. We in Tampa Bay know all too well what it's like to not have a quarterback. So we get it. I want to get to some of the comments here before we hit the break because it's very Rays specific here. Good morning to you, Nathan Elliott, as always. Rick says hockey players don't trainers. They have a MASH unit. They don't have trainers, yeah. They just do triage. Thomas Casper says the new unis are cringy and appalling. They ripped off Monster Energy cans. I mean, not everybody likes them. I understand that. I mean, it's certainly not classic baseball. That's for sure. If you're one of those guys that like the City Connects to be old classic uniforms, which has kind of always been the theme of those, yeah, it's not that. Which I appreciate the creativity and the open-mindedness. I'm going to be a total, Scrooge when it comes to the Rays. So I like them. But I think the marketing efforts, if you're targeting the counterculture skater crowd to get you some, and if you're doing City Connect uniforms, aren't you doing it to market and get, there you go. There you go. I like them. I think the colors are cool. I think they're interesting. I really do.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with those.
Yeah. JP, you need to calm down. Skateboarders love
lives matter. Do they though? Come on, Rick.
Well, let's replace the BLM with an SLM then. All right. Let's do that. Property has a dark cloud on the horizon with toxic chemicals. It's being ignored. This is true. This is Thomas has brought this up many times, and it's 100% true. And nobody talks about it. That is a toxic waste site, the Tropicana Field. They built a gas plant thing. When they built it, was one of the reasons they put the stadium there is because they couldn't put houses there and anything else because of EPA regulations. But, so they had to cover it, with 16 feet of concrete to tamp down all the hazardous, horrible. So now when you dig that up, when you demolish Tropicana Field, you got to get that all cleaned up again, or is it worse now? And now you're going to put, no wonder you're going to put affordable housing on top of a toxic waste dump, right? Is that, you think that's where people want to live?
No, you know what they should build over the toxic waste dump? A skate park.
That's typically where they put skate parks, right?
Yeah, well, skater lives matter.
We can't use it for anything else. Let's put a skateboard park up. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Let's kill those people. I know what the rich people building over here. They're not going to buy it. James says if stadium deal goes through, no local ownership group and pay what Stu asks, I would hope, especially if stadium in failed location. Any group should deduct $700 million Stu is pocketing. Well, you that would be fair for a new group that's buying it. And that's the other thing. If he's going to make the sale so that he's already pulled out the first 7 years of local television revenue and his upfront money. So anybody who buys it, I don't know how many, is it 4 years left on that? Is he going to rebate the new incoming owners that local TV money? Or are they going to have to just do without for the first 4 years? I would suggest the latter. That knowing Stu as I do. Yeah. So it's one of the reasons it's just, it's all about a money grab, and it always has been for him. And that's why the Rays fans get screwed. Sounds like Rick says, sounds like Stu will get the stadium deal for a set of dishes and a case of beer, like fleecing the natives again. It feels like the purchase of Manhattan. Yeah. Wow. No different. Here, look at the shiny, we're going to build you an amphitheater and a museum for the $700 million that I'm getting.
You're going to get all the Shakespeare in the park.
Yeah. Drew. That's public benefit though.
Yeah. There you go. Culture.
Drew Lang says, think all the more reason the crowd needs to get behind Randy tonight with a standing ovation his first AB. For once, the fans need to inject some energy into this team and its best players. I agree. Let's do it. Let's make it happen tonight. When Randy comes to the plate, let's give him a big standing ovation and watch him strike out 4 times. I'm sorry. No, let's. Hey, I'm for that. Anything we can do as fans to boost up this team, hell yeah, they need it. Yes, they do need it. They need an owner that cares more than anything, but they need that. If we can give that to them, then absolutely, 100%. Let's do that. I'm all for it. So tonight, what do they get? The Mets in town, I guess. The Metropolitans. Yeah. How are they doing? I haven't even been checking my National League.
They're struggling too. Mets are not having a good year.
How's our Pete Alonso doing? Our Tampa kid.
Yeah, no, I don't know how Alonso's doing.
Well, hopefully he, you want to root for the local kids. You know, maybe not against the Rays, but All right, let's do a quick break here. I want to come back on the other side and get to some other issues. The Clemson Tigers have joined in the FSU lawsuit. We knew that, but now they're ramping up their game against the ACC with their rhetoric. That's going to be interesting. We got the Kentucky Derby coming up. Tim's going to give you his picks for that. And we're going to talk some Lightning, obviously, with Erik Erlendsson and some Bucks as well. Still absolutely drooling over their draft class. I just absolutely love it. We're presented by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. If you have any issues with insurance company, homeowners insurance companies, anything like that, any legal issues at all, the Jeeves Law Group, they're local, they are trusted, and they get results. JEEVESLawgroup.com. Keep it local, as we always said. And we're presented by the great friends at Hydrate Heroes. We will have our Hydrate Hero today and our last segment at 11:45. Wait till you meet this wonderful military person. Absolutely awesome. And go to tryhydrateheroes.com to get your free 3-sample pack. Back in 3. JP here for my friends at your local Synovus Bank. And I do mean friends, and I do mean local. One of the local managers in Tampa is John Acosta, big fan of the show, and I've known him for over 40 years. He's been in local banking since 1983. You talk about developing relationships. You don't stick around for that long unless you're doing things the right way and have a great reputation. And that's the focus company-wide at Synovus. Big enough to handle any complex international transaction, but small enough to answer the phone when you have an urgent question about your business or personal account. And for personal accounts, they have a very easy app that works great. You can do everything online. And for large or small businesses, you will get that personal touch and services to help build your business, taking your dreams and aspirations from the whiteboard to reality. We can make that happen. Let us show you how. For a get-acquainted meeting to open a business or personal account, just call John or go to synovus.com to find out where your local branch is. Everyone knows Italiano Insurance is your go-to for home insurance, but they also have an amazing team that focuses on business insurance. Yes, your business is most likely your biggest asset, so make sure you have the right coverage at the most competitive price. And if you started a side hustle recently, don't forget you need business insurance, because if you get sued in this over-litigious society we live in, you could lose all your personal wealth. So get that business insurance. And for the best customer service, always choose Italiano. My representative, Charity, is amazing. I called her late on a Friday because my insurance was going to lapse. She stayed late until the job was done. You just don't find that anymore. Give them a call, 813-877-7799. That's 813-877-7799. Italiano Insurance. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA 2-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or try to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group, because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com or call 813-485-6808.
With over 34 years of producing small and large events, Extravaganza Productions is truly a Tampa treasure when it comes to creating some of the very best events in Tampa and all across the United States. I've worked with them at the Florida Sports Hall of Fame inductions, the Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-sized event spread across all of Tampa Bay. They are the very best, from small meetings to exceptionally large corporate conferences to galas, fundraisers, sporting events, grand openings, whatever you want. Team EPI has an extremely talented staff of designers and show producers that develop extraordinary events fueled by the visions of their clients. You can reach them at their Tampa headquarters at 813-621-4700 or go to extravaganzaproductions.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, presented by the great folks at Hydrate Heroes. 8 times the essential benefits. I'm drinking it now. I'm having my watermelon elderberry. So tasty. Absolutely. Try hydrateheroes.com. Go to the website and they'll send you a 3-pack. You can try it for free. All you got to do is give us your information, give us your email. That's all we ask for. You don't have to put the phone number in, even though it asks for it. Just put in your email and your address, and we will send you a 3-pack for free. And then you can see what's going on. Then you can try. Why spend $20 on a case of Gatorade that's going to give you 250 calories per serving? This is 5 calories per serving, and it tastes fantastic. Gatorade's too sweet for me anyway. I don't know about you, Tim, but
I just like the green, the original, the old school green or yellow, whatever you want to call it, the lemon lime, whatever it is.
it's always like I always sometimes get a hankering for that, or used to when I was when you're hungover. They're just like, oh, you see green Gatorade, and you're like, ooh. That's gonna make me feel better.
I like to drink it when I'm on overnight road trips driving.
But this is so much better, and you don't get all the calories. Yeah. And it tastes to me it tastes better because I think Gatorade's way too sweet. Yeah. So just you get much better benefits without all the sugar, and then the energy drinks have all the stimulants in it, like dangerously so much so that the NCAA has banned many of those drinks. Yeah. Like if the NCAA is banning drinks, that are on the shelf in 7-Eleven, you should probably, I don't know, moms and dads out there, probably not let your kids be drinking that crap. So get you some Hydrate Heroes. Try hydrateheroes.com. And we donate 15% to military causes for the veterans coming back.
I'm very interested to find out how Hydrate Heroes flavors mix with my Tito's.
Oh, I can tell you how it mixes with Tito's. Fabulous.
I bet you can.
What do you think I'm drinking this morning? It's Friday, for God's sake.
That's how we get up in the morning.
But we put Good Boy vodka in it.
Okay. Yeah, Good Boy. Yeah.
Have I sent you a bottle of the Good Boy yet?
Not yet.
Vodka? Oh, damn. All right. Let me do it.
All his stuff's amazing though, so yeah.
Yeah, it's the Good Boy vodka is John Daly's vodka. It's absolutely fabulous. And it just like Tito's, it doesn't give me a hangover. Mm-hmm. There are so many vodkas that you get a hangover with. But when I drink this, it's like nothing. Wake up in the morning, and that's because it's good. It's made with good stuff. There's a difference, and not all those chemicals and crap in it. So, selling you some Good Boy vodka with a Hydrate Heroes. That's your go-to drink. It'll change your life, Tim Ham.
I need all the changes. Speaking
of tailgating, our good friends at Clemson have now juiced up their lawsuit. And I absolutely love it. And I think it's absolutely appropriate too. This is from the Times article yesterday. Matt Baker wrote. He said the Tigers are now seeking punitive damages to Clemson for the ACC's willful and malicious conduct, including slander of title. I like that phrase. That request is part of an amended complaint filed last month in Pickens County, South Carolina. The Tigers, like FSU, are involved in dueling lawsuits with the ACC. Many of the arguments have been the same, but both Clemson and FSU want guidance from the home courts
about the enforceability of a $130 million exit fee to leave the league, and also clarity on who owns the TV rights once they leave. Clemson's tactics generally have been milder than the ones used by FSU, but the Tigers have ramped things up by requesting unspecified damages from the ACC, a point that wasn't included in the school's initial March complaints. So I think what they're doing here is saying, look, ACC, you are basically, pointing to a contract that you won't let anybody see, which is just completely and utterly ridiculous in all legal circles, as our friend Scott Jeeves has told us. And saying that, okay, not only have you undersold us by 50%, are you robbing us of our media rights to distribute to other schools within the conference that don't really deserve it and who don't get the eyeballs, but you've undersold the entire conference. So you've put us at peril, existential peril when it comes to football, by the way. You can't compete with the other conferences that in the age of NIL, if your salary cap is $40 million less than everybody else, that's going to be a problem. But they're also saying you're keeping us from making this money, so we're going to sue you for the money that we could be making, game changer. So now the ACC is suddenly on the hook. Now you lose this argument. Not only are you going to lose your teams if they go, you're going to have to pay them. You want to pay them, ACC? I'm thinking that's a hard no. So I like this. I like this strategy, and we'll talk to Scott Jeeves about this in the coming weeks. So this is, it's like the countersuit, right? You want to sue me, I'll sue you. And the money, if we win, the money you're expecting for it, like we'll gladly give you $60 million like Maryland did to leave the conference and take our rights with us. We don't have a problem with that. But you want to keep going with this? You want to take it to court? You could be on the hook for $500 million. You interested in that? Nope. We can settle. So that's where this is going. And I like what Clemson's doing. And I would not think that North Carolina would be far behind in all of this, given the rhetoric of their chancellor. So again, this is all pointing towards an exit by Florida State, probably prior to the 2025 season. It will be announced in August. I think mid-August somewhere is kind of the deadline where they have to announce their intentions if they're going to be out by the 25 season. So I think you're going to see a settlement probably in the, $60 to $90 million range where the teams keep their rights fees, can take them to the Big Ten, which was where I think the Seminoles will be going. I don't know. Clemson, I think Clemson is probably more suited for the SEC, frankly. But I think Florida State is more national minded. And of course, I think they always want to differentiate themselves from the Florida Gators and the SEC, kind of like, what was it? Texas A&M when they're like, oh, we want to go to the SEC, right? We want to differentiate ourselves.
Yeah.
From Texas being a different league, right? And essentially a better league. And then Texas came and joined them, interestingly enough.
Yeah.
Maybe the Gators will come join us in the Big Ten one day. I hear Gator fans
cringing right now, right?
Cringing and laughing their ass off. It's just a joke. But
stranger things have happened.
Indeed, they have. So I think this is obviously a great development for Florida State. I think it's something that Florida State probably should have contemplated, but they did not. So fine, let Clemson do it. It's all good. It all comes together. The bottom line is the ACC is in a very untenable situation here. Now, I don't want to be the side that has to hide their contract in a locked vault. I guess it's written on some stone tablets or something, and be them and trying to argue to a judge that we're not going to let you see this contract, even though this is the contract. This is what we're arguing over in a court of law. I just don't think that's going to hold water, and neither does any other attorney in the world. So if that's something so secret, and of course they don't also, ESPN wants no part of discovery, just like Stu Sternberg. The guilty parties never do, by the way. They never want, the aggrieved parties always want to discover stuff, right? If you see the other party doesn't want to do discovery in any way and will do everything they can to settle, you can pretty much guess who the guilty party is in that particular case. So again, you want to hide your documents,
You want to, you don't want discovery. You don't want depositions. You don't want any of that stuff. That's fine. Settle the case. Settle the case, and let's all just move on. And you can have what's left of your little ACC, and we can get the hell out. So that's where this is headed. I hope that it happens sooner than later, so we don't have to keep talking about it, and everybody can move on. And Florida State can, win their last 2 years in the ACC, and say, "So long, boys. We're off to the Big Ten, where we can make some real money."
That would be a good day.
It'd be a really good day.
Yeah.
All right.
And you know what? The Big Ten needs a team like them. I think that's. I don't know what. I'll be honest with you, man. I'm all for the conference realignment, and I'm all for the new landscape of college football, including NIL. I don't have a problem with that. They're starting to regulate it a little bit more, but man, I just don't know what the Big Ten's doing. You've got teams everywhere. Just the logistics of playing in that conference to me are mind blowing.
Yeah. I think at some point, they're going to have to do something in terms of like divisions. I mean, I think,
oh yeah,
what do you got? 4 teams from the West Coast in the Big Ten, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They'll probably have they'll probably do a lot of their in-conference play within those teams,
Mm-hmm.
And come together like maybe before the season and after the season. There's a pre and a post. I just can't see, volleyball teams and
Mm-hmm.
cross-country teams flying across the country constantly.
No,
that just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. For football games, yeah. Basketball games, okay. College baseball now is, by the way, starting to get really, really popular and sell a lot of tickets. Like, these stadiums are packed everywhere you go because, it's not the money grab that Major League Baseball is. And you're starting to see it show up more on TV too. And it's exciting. By the way, college baseball is fun to watch.
Good.
It's a lot of runs scored. I think it's a much better product than Major League Baseball, quite frankly, because with all the BS that goes on in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
So, college baseball is starting to become a larger revenue sport. And these rights deals are usually made with schools. So these television networks are getting bonuses when they're now getting good ratings for college baseball, for gymnastics. By the way, did huge numbers. They put that on the mothership of ESPN, did really good numbers. And, the Caitlin Clark thing has just been off the charts. And, I don't know how much, how popular women's basketball continues to be once she leaves, but I still think there's a bump. I think I think people have frankly sampled it and said it's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch. So I do think it'll have a little bit of staying power. It won't reach the levels of Caitlin Clark, but it'll have some staying power. No question about it.
I mean, my favorite women's collegiate sport is still probably hockey. I love watching women's college hockey.
Yeah. By the way, I meant to mention this, and I'll probably touch on it with Eric as well. John Cooper the other day profusely apologized for his, put the goalies in skirts comment. And I think he did a very good and sincere job apologizing for it. The public outrage over it was lunacy again, and then because if you know the man, he's not a misogynist. You know how much he supports women's hockey and women's sports in general. He's got a daughter or daughters. A slip of the tongue, vernacular that we should not be using, especially these days, and where men quotation marks have proven that they're clearly not as tough as many women. That's something that needs to go by the wayside. I just think it's even more ironic now when you say it and you look at our culture. So I thought he did a nice job with it. And anybody who's still trying to cancel John Cooper, shut up. Just shut up.
We're allowed to misspeak sometimes. It doesn't make us a bad person or put us on the same field as people with agendas. Man, it's especially terms like that, right? We've been saying stuff like that our whole lives. Never meant anything by it.
Right.
But it's a bad analogy, right? And so I get it. It shouldn't be said, but when you do and you apologize, dude, it's a slip of the tongue. Just let it go.
Well, and I'm not defending it at all. That's not what I'm doing. But I think in the old vernacular, that is referring to women who are petite and not, that are very, feminine.
Yeah.
That don't want to sit in front of a goalie, and get their head smashed in, that are not, confrontational or in any way aggressive. And you're celebrating their femininity, if you will. Okay. There are a lot of women that don't want to be, masculine and tough and would rather be more dainty and feminine and not aggressive and, wear skirts. Yeah. So it's not this horror. And of course it was, you think that women aren't as tough as men. No, that's not what we're talking about here. And everyone knows now that is clearly not true. And I'll point to the men more than I'll point to the women.
Right.
So yeah, it has nothing to do with your gender in terms of your toughness. Now, are there female hockey players that can come into the NHL and stand in front of the net? Not a lot of them. Mm-mm. Not a lot of them. And that's just because men are bigger and stronger and nasty. I don't think, and if you think women hockey players should be standing in front of pick a nasty defenseman. I don't want to, smear anyone. But Zdeno Chara in front of the net, you want to.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it's just not something that many women or men, for instance, I couldn't do it. I want no part of it. Nope. Would want to do that. So let's just let's just be done with that. Let's just be done with that. John Cooper is not a misogynist, and I thought his apology was very, very sincere. Rick chiming in says John Cooper should have put a skirt on them and have them read kids' books at a library. Are you talking about their team against the Panthers? Oh, I think I know what he said. Oh, okay. All right. It's all. Is he referring to the drag shows? Is that what he might be?
Oh, wow.
Did you say you send my email? I'll send you some vodka. No, that's not what I said. I said I'm going to send Tim some vodka.
Yeah.
But you can get the hydrateheroes.com for free. Just go to tryhydrateheroes.com and fill out the form, and we'll send you a 3-pack, and you could try it and then say, I want to buy that because it's really, really good. And you can do that. All right. What else I want to get to here before we go on to, do you have any thoughts on the Kentucky Derby? Like I used to be big time into the Kentucky Derby and go through all my sheets, and we'd have guests on. Does it kind of feel like that? Is it one of those events like the Indy 500 that when we grew up, it was huge and just nobody really cares about much anymore?
Well, I mean, obviously I have a close relationship with the Indy 500, and I kind of would like to feel like it's still relevant, but certainly
it's not.
It's not, right? I'm a realist. I get it now.
Not like it used to be. I still locally, absolutely.
Yeah. Like locally, for sure, you're going to have 400,000 people in Speedway, Indiana, at the end of the month for the race. But the Kentucky, I've never been into horse racing. I've never understood horse racing. I will watch the big ones. Like I'll watch the Preakness. I'll watch the Kentucky Derby.
The
Belmont. I will. I'll watch the Triple Crown races, especially if there's a chance there's going to be a Triple Crown winner, right? Like I'll be into that. But I don't understand horse racing. But here's something, JP, on our network over at fanstreamsports.com. Go to Just Wondering with Norm Hitzkiss, because he does this annually. He's done it for 30 years. He did this morning on this morning's show. He did his fantasy call of the Kentucky Derby.
Oh, really?
He basically goes and he does his lineup. He'll describe the horses, what hole they're in. Goes through. I think it's an 18-minute podcast, which is twice as long as most of his are. And he'll do the introductions of the horses, and then he calls the race as he sees it in his head, and he gives you the winner, the second place, third place. I mean, he goes. It's insane how much he knows about this sport and the Kentucky Derby. But he literally will sit there. He did it on it's either on video or you can go get the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. But he does a fantasy call of the Kentucky Derby every year, and he did his episode this morning doing that. It is insane how much he knows about this.
How do you even do that?
Dude, we know he's a sports genius for sure, but good Lord, man.
So he just looks at his board and the traits of each horse, knows who the speed horses are and who's going to come out early, who's going to be late.
Yep.
What might transpire during the race in terms of the traits and the personalities of the horses and their abilities.
Yep.
And then
calls the race as he sees it in his head.
Wow. I got I got to listen to that.
Yeah, no, it's insane. I mean, he's right there. It's fun watching it on video because you can see he's checking his notes every now and then while he's doing the call. He's looking right at the camera while he's doing the call. It is all in his head.
Really?
It is mind. I was editing it last night. You had a post today, and I was just like, I'm amazed at this every year that he does this. Like, how does he do this?
So please tell me you put the rolling sound of thundering hooves underneath, right?
I didn't because it was late. And I had to
come on, dog. You got to go re-edit that. You got to go get that, because the sound that's in the background as we're hearing the conductor. Yeah. Oh, you got to do that. You got to do that.
Oh, that would be funny. Yeah.
Just throw one of those in there every now and
Play
then.
The Mr. Ed theme song behind it.
Yeah, we got to have a lot more fun with this than that. Yeah, hell yeah.
But Norm's a treasure, man.
Come. That gives me chills every time I hear that. Down that stretch they come. I've been to 2 Kentucky Derbies. 2 Kentucky Derbies.
See, I would love to go.
Smarty Jones was one of them. Been to one where it was an absolute downpour all day long. An absolute down most of the day. And, we were all, and my great friend Keith Karam grew up in Louisville. Their families had a box for 100 years because it's one of those like master's tickets. You don't lose your box, right? Yeah. You got to have your box if you live there in Louisville. So their family has a box. So we went and, luckily we were under the stands. So we just spent the day just going back and forth to the mint julep station, or maybe not. I had one and quickly went to the vodka.
Yeah, you got to have one right when you're there. Yeah. You got to have one.
Yeah, that's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I mean,
but then it just the whole thing. We went up into some of the luxury areas and boxes was unbelievable. And I went another year with spectacular weather. Who won that year? It's a Smarty Jones one year, and it's another long shot. I forget. Whoever was, they won 2 legs at a Triple Crown and almost won the Triple Crown. But so it is a bucket list item. You got to go. The one year I went with credentials, NBC credentials, when I was working at Channel 8. So we got back in the paddock and all the kind of the other areas, and that was just really freaking cool. And of course, you see celebs everywhere. Brady's there, like Ronaldo, everybody, the celeb watching is just off the charts. Super fun. Everybody gets dressed up. Get your hats on, all that cool stuff. So it is definitely, without question, a bucket list item to go to Churchill Downs. I went to the Preakness when I was in college. So definite, the other end of the spectrum. We drove I was working up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania one summer, and we're all working our bar shift that night. And, what if somebody says, hey, the Preakness is tomorrow. You guys want to drive to Baltimore after after our shift? It was like a 5-hour drive. I'm like,
oh my God.
Yeah, of course I do. So we all piled in 2 different cars, drove down to, doing shifts, driving down to Baltimore to go to the Preakness. We go to the infield, you park in these huge fields, and then all these kids come up with shopping carts. And they jump up in there, and then you throw all your stuff in the back of the shopping carts. And then you go through the turnstiles with your ticket back then, right? Mm-hmm. And you buy your ticket, and they just let you go in with all your crap in the shopping carts. You set up your encampment in the middle, and then just hang out all day and bet and drink. And
that'd be a party, man.
That was fantastic. That was absolutely fantastic. We actually somehow snuck our way up into the luxury box for the actual Preakness race, and didn't get thrown out till well after, but well done. That was a day.
Nice.
All right, we got to take a quick break. Then the great Erik Erlendsson is going to join us, and we're going to get into what is going to be a very interesting offseason for your Tampa Bay Lightning, and wrap up this series with the Panthers as well. So we'll do that when we come back. We're brought to you by the great folks at Extravaganza Productions. If you have an event coming up, a very big birthday party or small birthday party, big meeting, small meeting, charity event, let the professionals at Extravaganza Production come up with a great idea. Have a creative meeting with them for free. They'll show you all the crazy props they have in their warehouse, and you can come up with a great theme and a great party and really do it the right way. Extravaganza Productions, go to their website and tell them JP sent you and get that free creative meeting. Back in 3 with the great Erik Erlendsson. Stay with us. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves, who lives right here and has long been a highly respected member of our community. He's a proud sponsor of the Tampa Riverwalk.
Jeeves Law Group is also a proud sponsor of our Grand Central District in St. Pete and has neighborhood events throughout the year. He has an office on Central Avenue in St. Pete and one on South Howard in Tampa. You can't get more local than that. So when you need an attorney, are you going to hire some huge firm that advertises all over the state or the one that supports your favorite sports show? It's the Jeeves Law Group. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. For personal injury and personal attention, call us for a free case evaluation. That's 8889-JEEVES. That's 8889-JEEVES.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com.
It's Diamond Days at the Gold and Diamond Source because April's birthstone is diamonds. As they take center stage, get up to 20% off all diamond jewelry. And our first-time buyers program will help you get educated about the 4 C's and all the different shapes and styles. And remember, you only want natural diamonds, folks. It takes billions of years to form a natural diamond. You don't want something that was made in a factory just a couple of weeks ago. And remember, your Gold and Diamond Source diamond never loses its value. You can always trade up at the Gold and Diamond Source for a bigger, better one. And they will spend the time to educate you about your diamonds and how to take care of them. And of course, consider the Gold and Diamond Source to maintain and insure your jewelry. They can professionally clean it, check the settings, and make any necessary repairs to keep your jewelry in top condition. It's the 40th anniversary of the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show right here on FanStream Sports and 102.5 HD2 The Strike.
That's right. Where you also find Erik Erlendsson's voice many, many days on The Strike at 102.5. What's up, Double E's? How are you? LightningInsider.com and
I'm
many
good.
other things.
I'm good, gentlemen. What's going on?
Man, that was a smooth, just a smooth transition, I have to say. That was effortless right there.
It really was. We're such a great team. We're such a great team. Erik, I was dismayed, pissed off by the way this series ended, but I'm also a realist and understand that it was a 7-game series. Even if they win game 5, you never know what's going to happen. But those 2 goalie interference calls will stick with me all freaking summer long. I hate them, and I just rather the players decide these great series than terrible calls like that. Where have you finally come down on that?
Yeah, it's interesting. This just goes to show you how gray of an area goaltender interference is.
Yeah.
And as much as they've tried to narrow down a true description of it, we still don't know.
Yeah.
And we can talk about the blue paint all we want. And the blue paint is the goalie's area. That's for sure. And I mean, go back to 1999, the Brett Hull, when the league said anybody in the blue paint can't score a goal. It almost has to be, if anybody watches IIHF, International Ice Hockey, you watch the World Championship this year, if you watch the World Juniors, the Olympics, they're going to come up in a couple of years. There's a rule in international hockey that it's kind of like a 3-second violation. If you're in the blue paint too long, referee's going to blow the play dead. But it doesn't mean you can't be in there. And when there's minimal contact that really doesn't affect and that's what it has to come down to. Does the contact affect the goaltender's ability to make a save? And specifically on the second one, the one that would have tied it late in the second period, the skates might have touched between Sergei Bobrovsky and Anthony Cirelli. There might have been some contact. He wasn't stopping the shot because he never saw it.
He never
saw it. So his ability to make the save because he wasn't going to make the save.
Exactly. I would argue the same thing happened on the first one.
Yeah.
When Duclair is being clearly held, number one, and Bobrovsky's got both of his hands around his skate.
Yeah.
And the other part is he had full movement to get over and try and make the save on Cirelli. He moved over he went across the crease, and Cirelli lifted the puck over his pad.
Yeah, well,
and then when you look at the Vasilevsky one earlier in the series, Vasilevsky was knocked on his ass. Yeah. He had no chance to make the save, and it was a freebie. So to me, the test should be, what did you get a free goal here because the guy couldn't move and make the save, or did he have an opportunity to make the save? And that should be the test. And clearly in both of those, Bobrovsky's had the opportunity to make the save, and Vasilevsky did not. So in the spirit of the rule, it's like it's a playoffs. You don't want to give any freebies away because somebody got knocked down. All right? But if you have a chance to make the save and there's a little bit of contact, make the save. If you don't, it's an earned goal. And I would say both of those Lightning goals were earned. The Panthers goal was not. Is that a fair characterization?
Well, I'll say this about the one on Vasilevsky. Anytime the defending player causes the contact to go into his own goaltender, you're never going to get that call. And that's what that was. So it was a freebie. Yeah.
Bassey first, I would argue.
Well, but I don't think he did. I think Hagel pushed him into it. Was it a little Corey Perry play where, I feel the contact from behind, I'm going to launch myself forward? Yeah. Maybe. It's possible.
Yeah.
But the contact from behind is what caused that one. And I'm okay with that. When I saw it, I was like, that was a bad challenge from John Cooper because you weren't going to win that one. On the Cirelli goal, which would have given Tampa Bay the lead in Game 5, yes, he's in the blue paint. Again, yes, he's touching the blue paint. But the blue paint can't be the end-all, be-all. It has to have some judgment on this because Bobrovsky causes the contact because first he puts his glove between the skates of Duclair trying to cover the puck, and he missed it. Now, all of a sudden, his balance is off and he's out of position. He actually makes a play on the puck. He actually gets his stick on the puck, and Cirelli just takes it from him and scores. Again, he's not making that save whether Duclair is there or not.
Exactly.
Again, it's a thing that just kind of drives us crazy sometimes watching the NHL, that you can't clearly. It's worse than pass interference. It's worse than what's a catch in the NFL. You just don't have a clear definition. It's kind of like, well, I don't know what it is, but I know what it is when I see it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Getting the lead in that first game, or it's getting the lead in any game, is critical the way the Florida Panthers play, right? Because when they get a lead, they lock you down, they just chip it out, they frustrate you. And when they don't have the lead, they have to change the way they play. I'm not saying they can't come back. They did. But it just changes the way the whole game is played, right?
Yeah, and it puts a little doubt, a little pressure on the Panthers, right? They were 3-0 in the series. All of a sudden, now you've given up the first goal. And, after what the Lightning did in Game 4 and came out and blitzed them in the first period, it would have put a little seed of doubt in Florida's mind. I'm not saying they would have won the game. Probably still weren't going to win the series. But you'd like to see it play out as it played out.
Yeah. And what would you say in observing the whole series? Now, clearly the Lightning have to address their deficiencies against the Panthers, or they're not going anywhere in the playoffs, just like the Panthers had to do that against the Lightning. They had to get over that hump. So where are the deficiencies as you see this vis-a-vis the Florida Panthers and the Lightning getting back to that championship level?
Well, all you can do is look on the defense, right? Yeah. That's where it starts. And we'll talk about team defense, and that's not always just the defenseman, but they're a big part of it because what we saw throughout a good portion of the season, and you saw it in the playoffs, especially in Game 3, when they couldn't hold on to the lead that they had, the Lightning struggled getting pucks out of their zone. And you need defensemen who just work well under that type of pressure and are able to alleviate the pressure with a good first pass.
Right.
Now, not having Mikhail Sergachev, that hurts. That you lose that player, and you missed him for more than half of the season. But you saw the difference when he was back there. When he came back, miraculously, I think came back.
Puck got out.
In this series. Yeah. He had the ability to get the puck out of the zone on a consistent basis. And look, he struggled with that when he was healthy earlier this year. He did not have a good first half of the season, but you watch Mikhail Sergachev. sometimes you don't know what you got till it's gone. And having missed half the season with the injuries that he
Right.
had, he is going to be one motivated guy. So keep an eye on Mikhail Sergachev going forward. I digress. That's where the Lightning need to have more depth, right? Darren Radish, good offensive defenseman, not so good in his own end too often, and he's one of the ones that kind of gets himself into trouble sometimes with the way he gets the puck out. Nick Pervik, I don't know what happened to Nick Pervik this year. He was so poised last year as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
He fumbled, the pucks just fumbled off his stick this year.
Lost his confidence.
Yeah, it's weird, and maybe that's a sophomore situation. We'll know next year.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the areas that they need to improve on. You have the goalie, you've got the elite forwards, you've got an elite defense, you got 2 elite defensemen. They still have a lot of pieces to make this team successful. You just have to have the depth, which is what the salary cap is taken away.
Yeah, no question about that. And then, of course, Stamkos' situation, comes to the fore, and I've heard people out there, pundits say that he wants another payday. And I'm like, that doesn't seem like Steven Stamkos to me. He took less money in 2016. I don't know what his mindset is. I don't know the man that well. I know what he says. I've observed his actions tell me that he's more about winning. He's more about, and his wife is certainly doesn't want to move to Chicago or LA. I can tell you that. So I don't think he's going anywhere. But the Lightning have to, they're in that spot where you got to pay respect, right? And you have to pay, what the going rate's going to be to some degree. So where are we with Stamkos? Is it a 3-year 6.5 average, or is it 9? Is it 7? Where do you think it should be? What's happening here in your best guess?
Yeah, that is a tough one to answer because cap issues, right? The team has cap issues. You got Victor Hedman to worry about after next season because he's going to be in the same boat. I get the sense in the exit interviews that took place the other day that there's more optimism now than maybe there was 2 months ago, 3 months ago, where it was kind of on the back burner and nobody really thought about it. But, you go back to the first day of training camp and the frustration that Stammer had about not having any negotiations. It's one thing not to have a new contract, but not to have negotiations and then to be told it's not going to happen until after the end of the season. But you just look at the way he played, especially in the last month and a half, and he was obviously their best skater in the series against Florida. You just feel a little bit better maybe where things are headed after hearing Julian talk and Steven talk the other day. What's that number going to look like? Well, that's the $8.5 million question, right? If you go off a market value, a 40-goal scorer, even at the age of 34, is probably upwards of $9 to $10 million. You can't get that here. If you want to keep this team competitive, and he does, he mentioned that the other day, it has to be lower. I think it has to be lower than his current cap hit, which again is going to be under market value. So it's Julian and Matthew Darsh and the front office staff there have a difficult task ahead of them. Now, the one thing that I really took out of what Julian said, remember at the start of training camp, he said, we need more information before we move forward and talk about this. And he mentioned he now has that information, right? He has an idea what the salary cap is going to look like this year and next year. He probably has the parameters of what a new CBA might look like. So he has more information.
And that's huge.
It's huge. It's huge. But the bigger part of that is Steven Stamkos scored 40 goals this year. Right. Still productive player. So you can't afford to let a 40-goal scorer walk away, let alone the guy who's been the face of your franchise for 16 years and everything he's been through. Loyalty doesn't happen too much in today's pro sports environment. I think there has to be loyalty from the team to the player in this point, more so than the player to the team.
But what does that look like? And here's the thing, and it's interesting because we just went through that with Mike Evans. And I think at the beginning of the season, when you don't have that security of a long-term extension, and you say to yourself, well, Jesus, now if I go get injured this year, right? I'm going to cost myself what, $60-70 million guaranteed, whatever it might be. In Mike Evans' case, maybe a lot more. But then you get through the season and you've had a very productive season and you set yourself up for a legitimate payday from your team or whoever else. And now you sit there and you go, all right, that sucked. I didn't like what they did to me, but do I really want to go play in New York? Do I really want to uproot my family and just because I'm pissed off and go to LA or Chicago where I'm probably not going to win, but I'm going to make a lot more money? Is money that important to me? Your wife is like, no, we got plenty. You know, and it's so you don't like it and it sucks and you're pissed off about it, but you're only hurting yourself if you chase money. He knows that. Mike Evans knows that. And who made the decision for Mike Evans? His wife, right? He even said that. His wife said, honey, what are we doing here? Can we get this done? And Mike took less than market value. He did. He could have gotten more other places. But, you know, in the long run, you're going to make over the life of the contract $8, $9, $10 million more over 4 years, 3-4 years. And you're going to uproot your family and go somewhere you don't know the coach and don't know the schools and don't know the traffic and don't know your neighborhood. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah,
well, I just don't see it happening.
And that's one of the things that, you know, Stamkos said when he was asked about his motivation or whatever. And obviously he said winning still fuels everything. The winning environment fuels me. That's part of it. But these decisions aren't not just mine anymore, right? Like 8 years ago they were. Now he has 2 small kids and, you know, he's got roots here. His kids have roots here. And I mean, players move around all the time. And, you know, if he talked to a guy like Alex Killorn or somebody like that, he would probably get a different perspective for sure. But at the end of the day, this is home for him, right? Yeah. He was born in Toronto, but he grew up here in a lot of ways. He's been here since 18 and he's been in the public spotlight here since 18. I'm biased because I've got to know him a little bit through the years. It's difficult for me to imagine 91 not playing out his entire career here. Same thing with 77. They have to find a way to get that done. They've been such pillars. And I know Bobby Orr didn't finish his career with the Boston Bruins. Wayne Gretzky got moved around.
It's a different time.
Right.
Different time.
For sure. Yeah. But that almost makes it harder nowadays because you have the salary cap. You know,
but you have life-changing money. Those guys hadn't made life-changing money by that time. They were making, what, $100,000 a year?
Yeah, and having to work summer jobs.
Both of these guys have more money now than they'll ever spend in their lives.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So I think it's a little different, right?
It is for sure because, I mean, just based off of, you know, some of the numbers, I mean, Stamkos has made $100 million in his career, right? Just off of his salary. So and
invested well.
For sure. Absolutely. So you're right. Money is not as much of a motivating factor. Now, there will be pressure from the PA. PA is always going to say, go and set the market, right? Like they did. And look, because this is now the third time that Stammer is going to go into the summer without a contract. And the first year was a restricted free agent. And he was basically told by the PA, just hold out. Let's see if we can get an offer sheet. Let's try and raise things for everybody else. He didn't sign until the middle of July that year. Yeah. He almost went to market in 2016, back during the legal tampering phase, right? Right. Toronto Maple Leafs put the hard press on him. They brought in the mayor. They brought in the CEO of Sport Check, a big, you know, sporting goods company in Canada, to talk about endorsement deals and everything else. And ultimately, he decided to stay here. So I see that as long as there's not a lowball offer or he feels insulted by what the team does, I think he'll be back.
Yeah, and the other part of that is you know, the endorsements will always come. They'll always be there, and there's tons of money for all of them to go around. And I think Hedman and Stamkos can say these are our decisions. You know, it's just not the clubs. They'll offer us a fair deal, but we'll take less money because we want to win. Yeah. He knows that they got to go out and get some players, and in order to do that in a salary cap. So he's just got to trick himself to say, you know what, this is my decision. I could go other places, but I want to stay here and I want to win. And the money is secondary. And the money, he didn't take the money in 2016 and look what it did. I would argue he would not have his name on the cup twice had he gone and taken the money. Because he would have been in Toronto, and when we know they don't win squadouche, even with Steven Stamkos. So you don't have to look any further than the decision you made a few years ago. And you base decisions on money, it's going to bite you in the ass. And he made the right decision then, and I think he'll make the right decision now.
Yeah, this team is still competitive. I mean, they're still a competitive team.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the thing. People say, well, you got to blow it up. 2 years in a row, first round exit. That doesn't make any sense because when you blow it up, you don't know what you're getting back.
Right.
You have no idea. You're going to go find another Stamkos, Kucherov, Hedman, Vasi? Really?
You want to try and blow it up? Look at the Buffalo Sabres.
Thank you.
How hard they tanked to try and get Connor McDavid. They got a good player in Jack Eichel and treated him like he was a second-rate citizen. Right. So, and Buffalo hasn't made the playoffs for 13 years. You don't want to be the Buffalo Sabres.
No.
So Julian has said it many times. He owes everything to the core of this team to do everything within his power to keep them competitive and Stanley Cup contenders. We know how hockey works. Florida was the 8th seed last year. We're down 3-1 in the series to the Panthers. Or to the Bruins. They were down by a goal in the final minute and a half of Game 7, and they march all the way to the Stanley Cup final. Even the Lightning in 2022, down 3-2 in the series to Toronto, takes an overtime goal by Braden Point to save Game 6. They find a way to Game 7. Next thing you know, they're in the Stanley Cup final looking for a three-peat. So hockey is, among all the other sports, the most the hardest to kind of track how things are going to happen, because there are more upsets based on seedings in hockey than there is in any other sport. So all you got to do, it's a cliche, but all you got to do is get in and you have a chance to win. Because
puck luck is a huge part of it.
Oh, massive.
When it bounces your way, it can make massive changes in series. And so that's why you just got to get in. You got to get in. You got to stay competitive and see where the chips fall. Even if you go into the year with a decent roster and you have the core, you don't know who's coming to you at the deadline. Yep. You don't know what flips, what things might just go your way. And like all of a sudden, a Sador shows up on your doorstep or you just don't know. And you don't know how they're going to change the chemistry of the team. It could be that missing piece that just changes everything. We've seen that a ton in hockey every year at the deadline. So just stay in the game, stay competitive, and let the chips fall where they may. And I think Hedman and Stamkos know that better than anybody. And they'll take a fair deal, keep the band together, and just keep on trucking.
Yeah, and there's something to be said for legacy, if you will, too, right? Like franchise. And look, they've already got a legacy. They're already both Hall of Fame players. But I think there's a little bit of that sense of, if we both finish our career here, hey, look, can you imagine if they both sign same type of deals to stay here, retire together? There's a chance they go in the Hall of Fame together. And what would that look like? Two guys that spent their entire career here, led into a couple of championships, and were teammates and best friends for 16, 19, 20 years, however it ends up being. You go in the Hall of Fame together. What kind of story would that be?
That's a great story, and it needs to be written. No question about it. Erik Erlendsson, LightningInsider.com, joining us. Who's on the horizon that's going to help? Is Isaac Howard a guy that can help? There's the kid they just signed out of Michigan, I believe, a college player. We've seen some of these college players that are late bloomers come in and really, really make an impact. Who's next up?
Well, do we count Crozier?
Yeah, I think we do.
Williberg,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
The way that they played, and look, people can keep an eye on the Syracuse crunch. Right, they're in the playoffs right now. They're in round one. They just won a double overtime game last night against Rochester. Devin Levi, who's sort of the goalie of the future for the Sabres, is the goaltender for Rochester, and he stopped 60 shots last night before Valtteri Merila scored on a breakaway in about halfway through the second overtime to give Syracuse a 2-1 lead in that series. Game 4 is tomorrow night. It's best of 5, so they can advance tomorrow night. Merila, right? He started the season here.
Like his game.
Big body, can score. A little bit older, coming over from England, from Europe. We'll see where he fits into the plans next year. Dylan Duke is the guy you mentioned. He immediately jumped into the lineup when he signed out of Michigan. 3 straight Final Fours with Michigan that Duke went.
He's a winner.
20 plus goals for the Wolverines this year. So net front presence guy, hard worker, ethic, good two-way player. Probably your prototypical third line kind of guy. Isaac Howard
need.
Yeah, Isaac Howard is still off. He's going to go back to school to Michigan State, from my understanding, and he needs it, right? He didn't have a good freshman year at Minnesota Duluth, transferred to Michigan State this year and helped Michigan State become, they were the number 1 seed in their region, actually knocked off by Michigan in the region final. So he's still a year or two away from making an impact if he comes here. Declan Carlisle, defenseman, we saw him make his NHL debut. He's a number 1 guy in Syracuse this year. I'm still waiting for Lucas Edmonds. He was a second-round pick a couple years to kind of break through. He hasn't had that breakthrough yet. Look, they don't have A-plus prospects. It's the price of winning, right? You don't have high draft picks. In Lightning's case, sometimes you don't even have first-round draft picks because of all the deals that you have made. So that hurts your depth and your pool. But they have players that can come in and make an impact. And that's why when you still have a Stamkos and a Kucherov and a Point and a Cirelli and these guys is to find some players to build around them. Keep an eye on Mitchell Chaffee too, right? Mitchell Chaffee can be an unrestricted free agent this year. I'd be surprised if he doesn't re-sign because of the chance that he got here and the role that he was able to play here. I would expect that he'll find a way to make his way back. So to me, everything is on the back end. We know the forward group is good. What does the back end look like? And I think with the way Lilleberg and Crozier played, particularly together, I think it gives you some decent hope looking towards next year because Calvin DeHaan's a free agent. Hayden Fleury is a free agent. They don't have a lot of guys coming back on the back end that are impactful. Maybe those guys can be impactful.
Yeah. And of course, they can dip into some of the experienced players. They don't have a whole lot of cap room, and Stamkos deal is going to have that, but they'll have some, right? Some cap room. Can they go find anybody? They got nothing.
Yeah, well, I mean, the cap is going up. That's a good sign. But when you have, depending on which sites you look at, they're between 10.5 and 11.5 million in cap space. I mean, a guy like Stamkos is probably going to take up half of that, right? So now all of a sudden you're looking at, okay, well, now we only have 5 million in cap space. That's why last year they went out and signed Connor Sherry to a 3-year deal because they could bring in a veteran guy on a cap team-friendly deal. Didn't work out this year, as we come to find out. Sherry had been dealing with a finger issue since December, so that obviously hampered his game. But he signed for 2 more years. He's a guy that probably has to play in a top 6. He couldn't find his way into the top 6 here. But those are the kind of deals that if you're going to bring in veterans at the free agency, it's going to have to be those kind of deals. Not hugely impactful players. I think you were hoping for more offense from Connor Sherry this year, but those are the type of players that if you're going to dip into the UFA pool, that's where you're going to have to find value.
All right, Double E's. Anything else we missed as we move forward in this offseason? Any other storylines you're watching?
I don't think so. No, I mean, Stammer is the big one. Yeah. Everything falls in. He's the first domino that's going to fall, and then we'll see where everything goes. You just have to hope this doesn't get to July 1 with him because if it gets to July 1, it's
Yeah. And I guess one other question is Tanner Jeannot. I mean, you expect more from this guy. Yeah, he just didn't give it this year. I don't know why his development stopped or what have you. He's an important piece moving forward, but you got to get more from him. And the entire third and fourth line's got to be better.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that with when they had Paul Asamon and Chaffee together, they were pretty reliable.
Yeah.
They chipped in some offense, and so that was your third line. Tyler Mott's probably not going to be back. I think they'd love to have him back, but I don't think you're going to get him at the number you got him. I think he was making $850 against the cap. He's probably going to be looking for more. Moving forward. But, you got Luke Glendening signed for another year. And by the way, there's a guy who played through a separated shoulder and a torn labrum. Oh, these players in hockey, it's crazy to think.
I know Anthony Davis.
Yeah. So he'll be back. And then, Jeannot, you need more out of him. And look, it's not his fault. He's going to be compared to what Julian gave up to get him because they did give up a lot to bring in Tanner Jeannot. And I get it. Sometimes you have to separate the two. But even if you separate the two, you need more. He has to be more of a physical presence. It's what you brought him in to be basically Pat Maroon in a lot of ways. That's why you traded Pat Maroon because you had Tanner Jeannot. So you need that type of more consistent play out of Tanner. We'll see what happens over the summer. He's got 1 more year left on the deal he just signed. But he has to have a better season if he's back here next year because he's a guy who can make an impact and he makes your – as John Cooper says all the time, he makes your bench an inch taller.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Double E's, thank you so much for jumping in here all year long. If anything pops up, we'll be sure to get you on the bat phone here. Tell everybody where they can get your great content throughout this offseason.
Well, hey, the website is right there, lightninginsider.com. There's 2 plans. There's a yearly plan. There's a monthly plan. Still producing stories. Just wrote one about Victor Hedman yesterday. That's up on the site now. There'll still be some other stuff going on that leads up to the draft here in a little bit over a month. Then free agency hits, and before you know it, training camp will be here. So the sooner you get in on the website, the more content you're going to get over the next year.
And the insight on the playoffs too, as they go through.
I'll be watching that. Hey, last year I did a little thing about now that the Lightning are out, who should you root for? I'll do a little something like that. I think a lot of people enjoyed that, so I'll put that one up there soon.
We were talking about that the other day, as I'm like, I can't root for the Panthers. I can't root for the Bruins. I mean, who's left? Vegas.
Go Stars.
I do like the Stars, Tim. I do like the Stars. They are.
Nice.
I was shocked that they fell down 2-0 to Vegas. I think they're the best team in the West. They got everything. Robertson. Stankoven and Wyatt Johnston. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You added those guys. I was talking to my son the other night. I almost forgot Rupe Hintz was on that team because they all talk about Stankoven and Johnston and Robertson. And that's a stacked team. Miro Haskin on the back end. I like Jake Gottinger and Nets. I think they're the best team in the West.
Vegas has always been their kryptonite, though, man. They went down 0-3 against Vegas before coming back and tying it in the West Finals last year and then losing in Game 7. You go down 0-2 this year in the first. It's just – I think they wrap it up tonight, 9 o'clock Central. We'll be watching.
Yeah, that should be
all
fun.
right. We'll root for Dallas then.
Yeah, no Lightning connections, but I'll find a way to make it work.
Right.
All right.
Hey, and I just remembered when JP mentioned his name. Daryl Sador played for Tampa Bay. I totally forgot he had a stint in Tampa Bay and mixed in with his 3 stints here in Dallas. So
he was that big 04 trade deadline acquisition. They traded Alex Fetov, the number 3 overall pick in 2001.
Yep.
Was used in the Sador team. Of course, Sador was in Columbus at that time. So.
Yeah.
So you think he was happy to get out of Columbus and come to Tampa Bay?
Yeah. He and I used to have some dirty foosball games with each other back in the late 90s.
Nice. Yeah. All right, Eric, thanks, man. Appreciate your time, as always.
Of course. Be well, boys.
Yep. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, Dave Archer's going to join us from the Atlanta Falcons radio network and tell us why the Michael Penix pick was pure genius for the Atlanta Falcons.
Can't wait for this.
We're brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. Hey, it's a great time to call the great folks at Italiano, 813-877-7799. I know your home insurance is going through the roof, folks. We know it. Everybody's happening. There are some companies that are coming in that might be able to save you some money, but you got to make sure they're good companies. And Italiano vets them all. They're not going to put you with a bad company. So go give them a call, 813-877-7799, and they'll get you the best price with the best companies and make sure that you're fully covered because most folks are not by the price of their home and some of the things that are in there. You got to make sure you're fully covered. You get all that great customer service at Italiano where a human being answers the phone, 813-877-7799. Back in 3 with Dave Archer. Stay with us.
Are you looking to be more productive and healthier? Do you know chronic dehydration affects your overall health and well-being? 75% of the U.S. population suffers from dehydration, and many of us don't even know it. That was me before I was introduced to Hydrate Heroes. 8 times the benefits with hydration. A beverage with benefits more than just hydration. That's right, 8 times the benefits with hydration. Hydrate Heroes provides a refreshing, great-tasting beverage powder to mix with water, providing elderberry, zinc, vitamin D, electrolytes, amla fruit, which provides a great source of vitamin C, along with a proprietary mushroom blend that has shown to help increase endurance and energy at the cellular level. Hydrate Heroes is so confident you're going to love the taste and the results. They are offering our listeners a special offer, a free 3-pack sample, no credit card needed. Just go to the jppetersonshow.com, the jppetersonshow.com, and click on Hydrate Heroes logo. Hydrate for health today with Hydrate Heroes.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com.
Everyone knows Italiano Insurance is your go-to for home insurance, but they also have an amazing team that focuses on business insurance. Yes, your business is most likely your biggest asset, so make sure you have the right coverage at the most competitive price. And if you started a side hustle recently, don't forget you need business insurance, because if you get sued in this over-litigious society we live in, you could lose all your personal wealth. So get that business insurance. And for the best customer service, always choose Italiano. My representative, Charity, is amazing. I called her late on a Friday because my insurance was going to lapse. She stayed late until the job was done. You just don't find that anymore. Give them a call, 813-877-7799. That's 813-877-7799. Italiano Insurance. JP here for Extravaganza Productions. You know, I've worked with these pros on so many big and small events. They recently did the Kappa Alpha Psi Grand Reunion, the Tampa RV Show Exhibit. They did the Skills Center opening of Tampa Bay. They can do those small events. They do the biggest of events. So if you are thinking about planning a meeting or special event, call the talented staff at Team EPI. They will give you a free creative meeting if you mention the JP Peterson Show. They will provide you with an exceptional experience. Heck, they'll even show you their huge warehouse with great props. Anything you want. They'll do it on time and on budget. You can reach them at their Tampa headquarters at 813-621-4700 or go to extravaganzaproductions.com. Tell them JP sent you.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here, as we are presented by the great folks at Hydrate Heroes. Get you some in a free 3-pack. Just go to tryhydrateheroes.com, tryhydrateheroes.com. They will send you a free 3-pack, and it's great. You will enjoy it, and the summer coming, you got to stay hydrated. Do we have Dave on?
We do.
We do. Oh, beautiful. The great Dave Archer, Falcons radio, former Falcons quarterback, joining us here. What's up, Dave? How are you?
JP, how we doing, man?
Outstanding. Things in Tampa Bay are wonderful. We had a great draft, great free agency. We're loaded. We're ready to go. But we want to talk about you guys, the Atlanta Falcons, who made the biggest move, most controversial in the draft. And we love Michael Penix. He's one of our own. And I hope he gets to play at some point. But what's the plan? What's the plan in Atlanta, my friend? How are we doing this?
Yeah, well, I think obviously the controversy centers around it be to burn the 8th pick on a future pick. And Atlanta securing Kirk Cousins in the offseason made this kind of a strange one for everybody until you have a chance to marinate it on it a little bit.
Right.
They're expecting Cousins to be ready to go. He's practicing already up here. So the Achilles injury, he's recovering extremely well. In fact, there's video of him throwing and working in sessions, dropping and throwing the football with them in their OTAs and mini camps up here. So they're excited about that. And I think he's on par to be ready to go for training camp. So to a certain extent, Penix becomes the insurance policy. That'd be the superficial part of it. He's a guy that plays within a system that's very similar to what they're going to do here. And so that worked. And this is an organization, JP, and got caught with their pants down over the last few years without a quarterback. I mean, it's been a quarterback shuffle up here trying to find a guy that you could depend on that was just going to take care of the ball, let alone distribute and get a lot of guys involved. So that led to part of this. Obviously, future considerations. This team plans on winning over the next couple of seasons, especially with Kurt here and some of the talent they've acquired, some of the young talent they've acquired in the draft, and so they're expecting to win. And with that comes the fact that you're going to be drafting at the back end of the draft.
Right.
Potentially, are you going to have access to have a future quarterback that steps in after Cousins is done? And Cousins' deal is, I know it's a 4-year deal, but generally it's kind of front-loaded. It's a kind of a 2-year deal, really, where the guaranteed money is. So you factor that in, that you feel like you might be drafting late in the draft, hedging that bet a little bit. And then the fact that there's still some pending litigation going on within the league as to whether Atlanta tampered with Cousins prior to the early period. And so are you going to lose a draft pick? And they've suggested it's going to be pretty stiff penalty. Would it be a number 1 pick? Could be, potentially, to kind of deter this from happening elsewhere in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going to get our quarterback in the future. This is the guy that fits what we want to do. This game is 75% of this game's played on time. That means you drop, you throw, you get the ball out. So processing pre-snap, confirming post-snap in your first couple steps, and then getting the ball out on time. That's what Penix does.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, by the way, he can do the impromptu stuff, ran 4.59 at the combine, all that kind of stuff. So the player, I don't think anybody's doubting the player.
No,
it was just when he was taken, and what's the criteria used to make that selection. And hopefully, some of what I described maybe gives some people a reason as to why they did it.
Yeah, and I love the player, and I thought Michael Penix was the second best quarterback in the draft behind Jaden Daniels. How did you have all the quarterbacks stacked up, Dave?
Yeah, interesting. I had Jaden Daniels as the guy that I was most intrigued with as well. I think that his run-pass combination.
Yeah,
I thought he did a lot of stuff on time at LSU, but then his ability to do stuff off schedule was outstanding. I think everybody fell in love with Caleb Williams' ability to kind of fly by the seat of his pants. He had to do that a good bit at USC, certainly last year. The year before was a lot cleaner year for him. But I still think that people saw a little bit, and dare I say, the Patrick Mahomes gene in him a little bit to where he could do some of that kind of stuff. But I had Jaden Daniels 1. I had who did I have? I think I might have had Caleb Williams 2, Penix 3 is where I had them. And I actually had Bo Nix in front of J.J. McCarthy. I was a little surprised that everybody fell in love with J.J. McCarthy. I think some of his interview stuff was excellent. He's got a good arm. Actually, Drake May. I forgot about Drake May. Drake May would have been 2. Drake May would have been 2 for me. Penix 3, and then I would have had Caleb Williams at 4, and then I would have had Bo Nix at 5, and J.J. McCarthy at 6 is where I had him.
I guess, Dave, where I come down on this is if you knew you had the 8th overall pick, I think you knew. I mean, you should know as an organization that Michael Penix is probably going to be there at number 8. I think that's a pretty good bet. So my question is, why go get Kirk Cousins? And I would say because you've been so bad at quarterback, you just don't want that to happen. All those arguments you said, especially the one about tampering, which I totally forgot about, are right on the money. But with Penix, you get that, right? You supposedly solve your quarterback position, but then you'd say, okay, he's been injured, so you need some insurance. So I get it. The problem is, what about the pass rush? And you had the best edge rusher there sitting there, and you know better than anybody else, you got to affect the passer. So how do you do that? I know a lot of those other picks are trying to address that the Falcons got. Are you just hoping that you hit on one of those?
Well, you're certainly you're hedging your bet, and hoping you can get some guys in the second, third round that are going to affect what the other team's quarterback's doing from a timing standpoint. But I think that the gauge on and kind of the way the NFL, the rest of the teams fell. I mean, we didn't see a defensive guy come off the board to 14 or 15. Yeah. Was that when Latu came off the board? Yeah. That was the guy they liked from an edge rush standpoint. And Atlanta actually tried to get back into the first round to get Latu at around 15, and they couldn't put a deal together to make that happen. So they liked Latu, and he was the guy that was number 1 on their board as far as pass rushers go. And you know as well as I do, these guys, they've got a board that has their top 100 players on it, and they've got them rated regardless of position. They rate those guys, and then they slot guys based on positions as to needs and who's the top of each position. So Penix, in their mind, was more important and was higher rated for them. And Terry Fontenot said this at his pre-draft press conference. He said, "We're going to draft the best player available for us." And I thought the "for us" was pretty interesting because he's never said that before. But when you look at the way this team is structured with their young players, they just exercised their 5th-year option on Kyle Pitts, so he's going to be coming up. Drake London is going to be coming up here in the next year or two. Obviously, Bijan Robinson is in his rookie contract, and we still got a couple years to wait on him. But some of these young players are going to mature about their contracts are going to mature about the time you're going to try to get a quarterback. And so I think that they want to win now. And I think that they felt like Cousins certainly gives them the opportunity based on what they're going to do offensively, which will mirror very much what he did in Washington and what he did in Minnesota. Kind of that Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay style of system, 11, 12 personnel, and all that kind of stuff. That's what Cousins has been doing. So he was the perfect fit for it. And then they said, well, let's just get our future guy now. And so we're not in a situation where if Cousins does re-injure something or can't go, then you've got a guy that's very, very capable of taking the reins and running with.
Dave Archer joining us here, Falcons radio, former Falcons quarterback. So as you sit here in the offseason with all the acquisitions, you got your quarterback, new regime in Raheem. People are saying the Falcons, I think Vegas has you guys at 10.5 wins. That's ambitious, no question about it. But you got to feel good about at least your quarterback position. How does everything coming together as you look at this entire offseason so far?
Well, I think that the offensive side of the football is going to be much more explosive, much more, oriented to, we'll run the ball some still. You still got two outstanding running backs in Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson. But the addition of Darnell Mooney from the Bears, you went and gotten Rondell Moore, a guy is the space guy, get him the ball in space and let him go. So you got speed now on the outside. Atlanta really didn't have anybody who could run by anybody. We got Van Jefferson midway through the season last year in a trade. He didn't really factor in. One, we didn't even try to get the ball down the field. So he just never factored in. This is a team that's going to try to touch you down the field, but you also have Drake London, you got Kyle Pitts. So I think offensively, you like where you're at. This should be a bounce back year for Kyle. I thought Kyle played a little bit like trying to protect his knee. Remember, he had the real good rookie year out of Florida, and then he got hurt in year 2. And then last year, he looked like he was kind of trying to protect his leg most of the time and didn't really get back. I think they're expecting to get back to himself maybe that rookie year, especially with Cousins shooting him the ball. So offensively, you like it. The offensive line is intact. I wondered if they might attack the center position a little bit. Drew Dahlman, the third-year guy at Stanford, has held that position down the last season or two. And if there's a weak link there, that might be it. But he played pretty solidly last year. So you like the offense. Defensively is what you were talking about, edge rush. Have you got guys that are going to come on? I mean, obviously you're betting on that. Arnold Ebiketie is going to be a better rusher in his third year out of Penn State. Reacquired, Lorenzo Carter, who's going to continue to play. Mm-hmm. And drafting of the linebacker out of Notre Dame's an interesting. J.T. Bertrand, leading tackler for Notre Dame for 3 straight seasons. That's 6'2", 230 pounds, can run, former team captain, all those kind of things that you like about a leader that could play in the middle of your defense. I'm almost wondering if that doesn't allow you to put Caden Ellis, who had, 6 or 7 sacks prior to coming over from New Orleans to Atlanta, a guy that has some pass rush capabilities off the edge, albeit he's kind of a linebacker-sized player. Yeah. But with Atlanta shifting to a little bit more of a 3-man front, that's the drafting of the 3 defensive tackles equate there, because there's a lot of guys that could have position flexibility where they can slide from, interior, maybe 1 technique all the way out to a 5 technique. So you've got guys who can play across the board and help bolster Grady Jarrett, who's coming off an injury, and David Onyemata, that maybe Caden Ellis becomes an additional rusher off the edge. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
All right, Dave, before I let you go, though, we were chatting about this yesterday. I saw you turn up in a very bad way on that 30 for 30 of the Bears, the 85 Bears. I said, I was afraid to mention it because you might have PTSD, but how did you and every other quarterback survive that group? I mean, those hits, do you turn that off when it comes on? Do you not want to see that? Because that team was unbelievable.
I didn't appreciate you reminding me of it either when I got your text. They were a transcendent group. It's arguably, you could probably put the Steeler defenses in the mid 70s. The 85 Bears, maybe the 2000 or 99 Ravens.
Yeah.
With
the O2 Bucks. We'll put the O2 Bucks in there.
Yeah, I was just going to say there's a couple of defenses down there in Tampa that we didn't like seeing either. So, it was an unbelievable group. There's Hall of Famers across the board on it. You couldn't block the scheme. Buddy Ryan, a couple of the scheme, 46. The 46 scheme, where a lot of people are emulating that here and there still today. And that was back in 1985 in 84 when he came up with that scheme. So you can tell how good it was. But when you have a scheme that you can't block, you don't see it, you don't really understand the nuances of it, and then you put a Hall of Famer at 7 of the 11 positions, that makes it difficult to move the football. We played them in 85 up there real quick. We lost, I think, 38 to nothing, something like that. Yeah. I got sacked 6 or 7 times in the game, but our longest play was the first play of the game. We had threw a tight end screen, and we never threw the ball to tight end. So I dump it to Arthur Cox, our tight end. He goes about 35 yards outside on the first play, gets hauled back for illegal man downfield. And the longest play we had after that was 8 yards. Gerald Riggs had an 8-yard run. That was it.
Dave,
They
I
annihilated.
seem to remember a game. Yeah, I think it's the game you're thinking of. 36-0 Bears. You and Bob Holly combined for like 16 yards on 8 completions or something, or 3 completions or something.
I think they only had like 2. I think they only completed 2 balls.
Oh my
it was
God.
unbelievable. It was unbelievable. You couldn't get the ball off. And when you did, it was like, let's get it out of here to minimize damage. Let's line up a second and 10 and second and 19. It was unbelievable.
Wow. And back when they could actually hit you too, they were allowed to hit you.
Yeah.
That's brutal. Hey, Dave, thanks as always for jumping in. Great stuff. Appreciate you, my man. Enjoy the off season. Thanks, buddy.
You too, JP. Great to be with you, bud. Take care.
Sorry to bring the nightmares up again. That was bad on me.
No worries. I'm going to go take a cold shower right now.
It's awful stuff, man. And on when you're in the hard turf too. Right?
Oh
the
my
hard
gosh,
turf they were slamming them too. Oh my God. Hey, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna have our Hydrate Hero of the Week. So stay with us. Back in 3 with Hydrate Heroes. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent-rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA 2-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com or call 813-485-6808. Everyone knows Italiano Insurance is your go-to for home insurance, but they also have an amazing team that focuses on business insurance. Yes, your business is most likely your biggest asset, so make sure you have the right coverage at the most competitive price. And if you started a side hustle recently, don't forget you need business insurance because if you get sued in this over-litigious society we live in, you could lose all your personal wealth. So get that business insurance. And for the best customer service, always choose Italiano. My representative, Charity, is amazing. I called her late on a Friday because my insurance was going to lapse. She stayed late until the job was done. You just don't find that anymore. Give them a call, 813-877-7799. That's 813-877-7799. Italiano Insurance.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show presented by the great folks at Hydrate Heroes. And every Friday we do our Military Hero of the Week where we put a spotlight on some of the military vets that are doing great things now as they have retired. And we bring in our good friend Diana Vega, who is the marketing director, vice president at Hydrate Heroes and a 21-year veteran of the military herself. What's up, Diana? How are you?
Hi, how are you?
We are fantastic.
Great. So excited about this hero. I actually nominated her.
Oh, good. Well, tell us a little bit about now. We want to thank you as one of our heroes. 21 years service yourself, and now you've joined the team at Hydrate Heroes. And I saw your video that kind of highlighted all of the things that you've done in the military, and it's incredible. Tell a little bit about your story before we introduce Regina.
Well, I was in for 21 years. I was first. I came to the United States when I was 12 years old, and then I joined the military right out of high school. I was a parachute rigger, 5'3", 5'2" actually, smallest one in my unit. So
5'3" and sneakers.
I was doing any type of exercise. They were like, "What is that baby doing there?" I'm like, "No, it's just another soldier." I was so little compared to everybody else because I was in a male-oriented MOS, and only 10% of the females that go through that training actually succeed. So I was very, and then after that, I did go to college, and I got a bachelor's degree in biology, pre-med with a concentration in chemistry, and became an officer. I was a human resource officer when I retired.
Awesome service in the military. Your story is so inspirational, and you have another inspirational story for us to tell us. So who do we have this week?
Her name is Regina Maloney, and she does excellent work at the Fort Campbell area. She has way more things than that, but she is with the MWR in Fort Campbell.
Hello, Regina.
And yes, and actually, Regina almost couldn't come to the show today because something happened over there with the kids and everything, and
no.
Yeah, and like a building, and they had to stay. She was there until like almost 10 o'clock at night, trying to fix everything for the children and making sure that they had, air conditioning.
Air conditioning, very important in the summer.
Like,
yes, in the South.
Okay. Yeah, and she was so worried, and it's that type of care. That type of care that I just admire. She goes way beyond what is asked of her to continue to give back to her community and to other soldiers like myself that are getting out of the Army and need these resources that are available in the Army. So I really just commend everything she does because it is tough sometimes, especially when you're getting out and the families and everything is just to have resources that are available for people to help even within the military. So she can tell you a little bit more about the MWR and about herself, but she's an amazing person. So
hello, Regina. Thank you for being our Hydrate Heroes Hero of the Week.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So tell us about the organization and what you guys are doing for the military vets.
Yeah, so I am the marketing director for the Morale, Welfare, and Recreation. And so what we do is we provide events, and we also provide facilities and different things for our soldiers so that we can boost the morale and offer them recreation to help them to de-stress, because as we know, suicide is very high, unfortunately, right now, especially with our soldiers. And so we want to have programs that help get them out of the barracks room, help them to get their mind off of the stress that they deal with every day, and just really encourage them. But then we also provide that for their families.
And that includes the kids too, right? What kind of events
so
do you have
we have
for the kids?
So we have all the child care centers on Fort Campbell fall under us, except for the AYMCA child care. They have one, but the other ones all fall under us, along with all of the physical fitness centers. We also have the Warrior Zone, which is an interactive gaming entertainment facility that's absolutely free for our soldiers to use, as well as all of the PFCs, the physical fitness centers. And we also have like a Hooper Bowling that's available for families that has different fun events, like they're getting ready to do a Mother's Day bowl. So moms can come out and bowl with their kids. And then we also have Week of the Eagles coming up to recognize all the soldiers that have came through Fort Campbell. Some have given their life, but we're honoring them and their families. And so we have a Week of the Eagles concert that's about to happen on the 17th.
Nice.
That's absolutely free for our soldiers and families to attend. And we also are going to have a boot display to honor all those that have given their life for our country. And we have a lot of different events going on that week to help just honor the families, and honor the soldiers too. And so, we constantly are throwing events and have facilities for them to use. And that's our
it's never been more important now because, with inflation and the cost of living now, I mean, entertainment things are the last things in the budget, right? And for our soldiers who don't make a lot of money, you know, this is critical for them, for their kids and their family to enjoy happy lives. I mean, because otherwise they would not have these opportunities. It's too expensive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Last month, we had Month of the Military Child, and we had a Month of the Military Child Kids Fest that saw over 7,000 families. It was a completely free event, and all of our child care centers and along with all of our facilities came out, set up tents, had fun games for the families to play, gave away a lot of freebies, and it was really to honor them because you have to be resilient to be a military kid. I, too, am a military kid and a veteran, so...
Well, Regina, thank you for all you're doing. Diana, thank you for what you're doing. And Hydrate Heroes donating 15% of their gross sales to great groups like this. So we really appreciate all of you. And that's why we try to honor you each and every week here on the show. So thank you so much, Regina, and Diana, to you as well. All right.
Bye.
Have a great weekend, both of you. That's good stuff, folks. And that's why we try to highlight these, especially our military now, man. It is. You know, cost of living is crazy. These folks don't make a lot of money, and to be able to provide those things, we know when our kids come to us and say, I would like this, I want that. And you just think, you know, you can't do it all. And for our military friends to be able to have these events for them is just huge. So I appreciate our folks at Hydrate Heroes for donating the money. So go ahead and buy some. And it's 15% of the sales go right to our military. And we had the 2-star general on last week. That's part of the board. So they make sure that this money is getting to these groups. So while you hydrate yourself, hydrate to donate, like we say, hydrate to donate. All right, Timmy, thanks you for hanging in there today with your strep throat. You're playing injured. We appreciate you. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe on all our social media and our YouTube, JP Peterson Show, FanStream Sports, and on Apple and Spotify as well. Have a great weekend. We'll be back Monday with a wrap-up of the Rays series and all that fun stuff. See you then.